I decided to get my resume professionally written as I was kind of in a transitional period in my career. I'd worked professionally for 5 or 6 years and then took 2 years off to go travel and then ended up going back to school for a year. So it was 2.5, 3 years. And I was ready to re-enter the workforce. So I'd been applying with my resume. I wasn't having like a ton of success as far as interviews and calls back and that kind of thing. But I had friends recommend that had used professional resume writing services in the past. And they had spoken highly of the successes to kind of give that resume like the final polish. So it kind of lands at the top of the list as far as reviews go. So I decided ultimately to try that out. I Googled resume services. Resume Target had a very high rating. So ultimately I decided to go with them. The process with Resume Target was truly like an amazing experience, extremely collaborative. From the moment you get started, you sign up for the package, they're holding your hand the entire time. You do the onboarding, then from there they schedule an interview with you. From there, like I said, it's a partnership. They interview you, determine what your goals are, how are we going to position this resume together, and what's going to get you like the most eyes in interviews. So they interview you, they poke and prod, they kind of find out details. Like I'm not always maybe the easiest to give up and to try and kind of talk confidently about your successes and that kind of thing. But they are truly professionals. I would send them like examples, past projects I've worked on. From there, they kind of write it in a way that's going to position you as one of like the elite candidates for whatever field you're looking for. It's a back and forth process. So he sends you kind of like the initial copy. You get on a call, talk through what do you like, what do you don't like. This is what we can change. I think it took 2 or 3 back and forths before I had something that I could start using, and what a experience it was. Very like polished. I know I got a lot of compliments on my resume, and ultimately it just gives you a ton of confidence going into that job search. After receiving kind of that final copy of the resume, I had a ton of confidence, and the results kind of spoke for themselves. Using kind of like my previous version, and then after getting it professionally written, the number of interviews I had and like callbacks and really success, it just went up tenfold. I think probably in a 2 or 3 week span, I had 10, 12 interviews. And not only does that like help your confidence, but the amount of interviews that you're doing, that helps your interview skills as well. So by the end, you know, I would previously get nervous before interviews, and by the end, it's just a conversation. You have a ton of confidence. It wasn't long after that I kind of had a job offer, accepted the job. And then about a year later, I ended up looking for another job again, and same thing. I just tweaked that resume that they previously provided. Same thing, ton of interviews. Again, didn't take long to get a job. So yeah, just an amazing experience, and truly a partnership, collaborative experience. The one thing I'll add too is like they did a LinkedIn tweak, and I kind of still have what they obviously with a few tweaks, but that's still up, and I still have like recruiters reaching out, that kind of thing. So ultimately, can't speak highly enough of Resume Target. It was just a tremendous experience.